Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Chris. We are live, and we are about to see our drivers take on the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, Spain. It's going to be the location. We are going to watch our drivers race today. And I don't know if I said it yet, but I'm Carlos Porcel, and I'm with Adrian Fernandez. Hello, Adrian. How are you feeling?
Hello, Carlos, and welcome everyone to another great day of racing, which we are having today at a very dear racetrack to all of us here in Spain, which is Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, which is also holding real races this weekend, so it's kind of fitting, just like in the 24-hour event that we are actually competing this Saturday at Montmeló, which is called here, and should provide lots of fun and lots of action.
We have a very fun session of racing today in front of us. Of course, we get to the regular format. We're going to watch two 15-minute racing sessions first, and then we'll get to the half-an-hour grand session that will let us see our drivers having to take a pit stop. And in those pit stops and those sip and goes, as we call them around here, we are seeing some drivers getting a little bit of an advantage. It was a little bit of a factor in Laguna Seca, but today is going to be interesting since we know it can make a great difference as well in this very fast straight of Barcelona.
Yeah, and this is a racetrack where being efficient with your fuel usage is something that plays a big role in how the car behaves and the comfortability of the driver. Obviously, it's not going to be as important as it was in Laguna Seca, because that was a 50-minute race, and this, the third one, where we're going to have a pit stop, it's going to be a 30-minute one. It's going to be very easy for them to make the strategies. It's just a question of whether do I pit earlier or later than my competitor to gain an advantage on racetrack. And maybe the racetrack itself doesn't provide that advantage for you to actually take the gamble on pitting earlier or just going longer. So that's the game of chess that all of them are going to have to play today.
Also, I must remind all of our viewers that they have a chance to play as well in this competition. In the third round, they'll have a chance to participate in the jackpot, in which we will get to see those four drivers confirm that combination of 6 numbers overall, where you pick the first 4 and the last 2 get picked randomly. Please visit allgratefulhearts.org to check all the information about the raffles and as well as the jackpot, as you can win $10,000. So good luck to you. And as I always say, if you win, give us a call. I'll be waiting. So there we go. iRacing is the platform that we are going to use for our races today and always. We are compromised to be using the best platform we could find for the competition, and it lets us go it lets us back the track up to 60 drivers can get into it. And today I think we're going to get to see around 50. Adrian, what do you think about that?
Come again? I didn't catch your last.
We're going to have about 50 drivers today. What do you think about that?
That's absolutely amazing, and for this racetrack, it's also a very right size for the GT race. Like, we're going to have, obviously, the GT3 cars. 50 cars is just right there, I think, for what this racetrack can manage without it being overcrowded. And we're going to see some of the features of Barcelona, Catalunya, Montmeló, Barcelona, whatever you might call it, as we ride along with this for this first minutes of the practice session with Jesus Sicilia. Obviously, the traffic, then again, as it happened in Laguna Seca, there it was a factor. Here, not as much. But with these cars, it is actually possible to pass because when you drive open wheelers at Montmeló, Barcelona, you don't really get to pass race cars. It is very difficult. The dirty air plays a big factor. Here, you can shove, you can push, you can actually use the racetrack to your advantage, and we're gonna see some of the drivers that are most familiarized with how this racetrack flows, taking the most of it.
What we know is that what is going to be for sure a fact, and it's becoming a fact each time in each track, is that the amount of drivers that we bring really make every track feel small, because the amount of drivers that we get to fit in such a great amount of drivers, it's amazing. So.
Yeah, they usually tend to prefer smaller grids. Sim racers usually tend to something in the 20 to 30 because more it kind of makes them a bit comfortable on how many cars are. But yeah, for the fans, it doesn't hurt to see a little bit more of them.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that we appreciate, the viewers and us, the commentators, for sure, because it guarantees a hell of a show. So. I hope that it doesn't become too difficult today for the drivers, although we had a little bit of a battle. We can say the Battle of Suzuka the past week. It was a bit more peaceful in Laguna Seca, but yeah, what do you think of that, Adrian?
Well, it was a bit more peaceful for some. For others, it was not as peaceful. There's still a couple of situations that happened there that have been handled in the last 48 hours that are probably still too fresh for the drivers involved, especially for some of those that were in the podium positions or close to fighting for the pole position, especially Victor Lobato, who was the driver that was greatly worse, had a worse situation out of that. And we're going to see again drivers that were not on the last event in Laguna Seca, drivers that have a better knowledge of Barcelona as a racetrack, and we have the potential here to see some other rivalries pan out, hopefully without crashes or big incidents.
We had that big contact between Manuel Rayo Largo and Victor Lobato. We're still detailing on that, but it was said that the guilty party was Manuel Rayo Largo. At least from the first view, we still have to look into it thoroughly. But yeah, that's the way it went on Laguna Seca. It wasn't the type of Armageddon we had in the entering of Cassia Triangle in Suzuka, but it got a bit hot in there, for sure.
And it's fun because usually at this time of the year, it's Suzuka. It's nothing as close as hot. It is actually a very cold weather down there in Japan. But yeah, the action there was very hot, and it kept on increasing that while we were running those heats. Heat is going to be a factor here if the temperature allows for it. It is also a very cold time of the year to play kart racing in Barcelona. But yeah, the drivers are. This is one of the last chances for the 2021 season to actually have such an event here in this racetrack, so they probably are going to try and make the most out of it.
Well, we have to thank our sponsor for this event, Healthy Nails RX. To keep your nails healthy, please check Healthy Nails RX. Thank you very much to them and to all of our sponsors. We saw just a bit ago Aitor Cajide with the number 52, and already with the Spec Ops, it seems that they've already been taking care of Aitor. They saw him as a factor in the Suzuka race for sure. He had a fight in him. And now he is with Spec Ops, the number 52. Right now we are watching Marcos Calvo with today's sponsor, Healthy Nails RX, the number one. Alberto Toribio Garcia with Red Rock Chocolate Factory number 3, being followed by CBD Boss's car.
So far, we haven't seen a lot of times, but Cecilia, then again, trying to put his lap time as early as possible and then rest on his laurels, which is kind of his main motive for the year.
Already bringing a bit of a guarantee for himself is Jesus for the start of the first qualifier. We still have a bit of a warm-up in front of us in this practice session. Jose Manuel Sicilia with Alpauto Paints on a chase to improve that time as well. He's already on the top 5, or maybe no, he hasn't got a top 10 time, but I'm sure he's going to be able to get around those times we've been seeing in a very top format, we can say.
Yeah, and look at that track map that we have in the upper right corner of the screen. We might see that there's a lot of cars already. They are bundling together in the first sector and also in the front straightaway. That might give you a first look on how the races today are going to be played during those first laps. How the drivers are going to look at taking the most out of the toes to make the slipstream work.
By the quantity of dots that we have in our minimap, I could say that we have already more than 30 drivers inside of this practice session in this GHA jackpot race today in GC Racing. If you're watching, thanks for doing so, and I hope that you get to enjoy our race sessions today. And if you know someone or you want to compete yourself, do please visit gcracing.us, and you can get all the information you need to become one of the pack inside of this great group of drivers. We're watching Enrique Bologna, number 47, with Winstar Holmes taking on the first and second turn of the track, and I think in that spot there is where we are going to see tough action today.
Is where most of the overtaking maneuvers will be tried, at least along with La Caixa corner maybe, and the drivers are aware there is a corner when lots of things can go wrong, because it is not we see. Well, I was going to talk about Stefan, but I'm going to do later. But lots of things can go wrong in the first corner because it's quite open. It doesn't have a clear apex to go for. It's continuous, so that opens the door for drivers to make a late break maneuver and have those crashes that usually tend to happen between GT3 cars. And we are seeing Stefan Hausleithner, which is interesting because this is, I think, his first race in a while, or even his first race altogether here, and it's a proof of how international this field is, because you're seeing a lot of Spanish names, but there are drivers from a lot of nationalities, Carlos.
Yeah, we've had Stefan. He's a veteran, we can say, around us. He wasn't in the second season. He wasn't able to be with us in the last races, but I'm glad to see him back with Be Social around the track as Fernando Garcia Gomez, the number 21, the EMS car from the first responders.
Being followed by Hausleithner now in the section previous to the middle part, which is the most fastest part of a race course. This right-hander, it can be taken full throttle with the open wheel cars, not with the GT3. You have to lift a little bit, going through this backstretch down to the La Caixa corner, which is now different. It has not been changed yet in the iRacing simulator. It is a bit less sharp now. Now going to the stadium section, which is called like that because of the grandstands that surround it, with this slightly banked right-hand corner, and now through the chicane section that was added 15 years ago to slow the cars down through the last couple corners, which I found pretty unfortunate, because those final two corners taken flat out or almost flat out was also one of the main attractions of Barcelona.
That RACC section where we saw Stefan testing the suspension a little bit. And naturally Morty, the number 17 with Skill Pop Radio as well, taking on the track, having big trouble right now in that ninth turn, if I'm not wrong. That uphill blind turn, very hard to take for all the drivers. And we saw the type of trouble that can generate if you go off the track.
Corner number 9 exactly, which was remodeled 25 years ago. In fact, it was different. It was a little bit more open, and it led to a chicane that now it is discontinued for racing. It is also a very difficult point because, as we said, it's very fast and you can go out of the track very easily if you miss your racing line. As now they crash Jose Manuel Sicilia with another driver on the former Repsol corner.
I don't know if it was Antonio Calzado and Jose Manuel Sicilia having a little bit of a bump and grind in that part of the track. Francisco Javier Gonzalez, the number 22 with Milestone Rehab and Development, making round the track as well, taking on the first sector.
You're gonna see a lot of drivers actually having different lines through this complex of turns because it's not a clear cut which is the best way to go through there, either by taking a more open line to enter the corner or doing like it's known as a diamond racing line, which is attacking the apex earlier by going a little bit wider than in the middle and then attacking the inside again. Some drivers are able to go faster than they would usually do by the regular outside, inside, outside by doing that. And it's going to be very visual when we see a group of drivers together.
Let's see how it works for them on that very open and very fast first sector, in which I think we're going to get to see some movement, some dancing, some twisting and turning. I don't know how it's going to end, but I sure know it's going to bring us a lot of action in each start of each round. I hope the group doesn't break too soon, but I'm a bit afraid for them, must say.
Well, it is like life in life itself, Carlos. We don't know the destiny exactly, but the road is going to be freaking awesome, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy them a lot, and we're seeing the drivers taking it very comfortably. They look already at ease with the racetrack, very speedy indeed. And that should lead us to a hectic qualifying session for the first of the 3 races.
Well, let me tell you, I can feel the tension, and one of the drivers that is bringing that electricity back to the competition is David Perez.
Yep.
With number 99, Alca Products with him, and I think he has a good chance to become a resistance for everyone in this track here.
Yeah, he was not that far from upsetting the expectations on Laguna Seca and actually beating Jesus Sicilia. He was very close to him in race 2. He was following him very close. He was following him very close in race number 3 also, before he lost time on the pit stop. And if he has a better pit stop this time, well, who knows? Maybe he could be another strong challenger. So far, he's 3rd, just behind Jonathan Alvarez in 2nd place.
In the past season, we saw David being a real menace to the rest of the group in the start of the session, since we had a still start. But on the rolling starts, it's a bit of a different history. It seems that everything ends up a bit more leveled in that situation. David was a real start launcher, you can say, a real rocket in the starting line. And this season with the rolling start, I don't know if he's not okay or he's more or less okay with it, but I'm sure he knows it's getting a bit of a factor that he had for himself, for his convenience out. So I would like to talk to him in the future. I feel that today a lot of the drivers, Jonathan Alvarez as well, know that they are in a position to ensure the place they are for the rest of the competition. We have around 5 to 6 races in front of us, and including this one, 7 races. So there's still a lot to see. There's a lot of fight in them. So I think it's going to bring. Everything is becoming it's coming up to a point where I think that the pot is going to boil very hard.
And the tensions are going to rise as the races go on, especially for those drivers that don't have a very good result to start with. That is going to be very easy to see from their movements, from how they attack the other drivers on the corners, etc., etc. There's a lot of ways to tell it. But you were speaking about how the drivers approach the start of the races, and I think that either being good at a standing start from the grid or from a rolling start, it is kind of an acquired habit. Not every driver has the two of them mastered. There are drivers who have and are regulars at doing both, but some of them have a liking either to actually being aware of when the green flag drops to smash the throttle and make a couple of positions, and some of them are a little bit more touchy with the handbrake and with the stop situation to get in front of as many drivers as they can. So we are going to see that on those starts. It is a long way to turn number 1, and I'm sure that they are not going to be quiet behind.
Not at all. Not at all. Javier Piñeiro right now in the center of the camera, the number 10 with Ultimus Esports. And if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do a quick bit in Spanish as well for our Spanish viewers watching us on Twitch. Y hola a todos, también en castellano, perdonad porque hemos tardado un ratito en volver al español, y eso que estamos en Barcelona, nada más y nada menos, en el circuito de Cataluña. Y en España, que estamos celebrando ahora esta carrera, se puede decir, así que está la pista calentita porque ya han tenido competición también a lo largo de estos días, así que a ver qué tal se les da a todos nuestros corredores. Soy Carlos Porcel, para los que no lo sepáis, ya lo sabéis, y estoy con Adrián Fernández. ¿Qué tal, Adri? ¿Cómo estás?
¿Qué tal, Carlos? Hola a todos los que estáis aquí, bienvenidos a otro día de carreras en G-Sim Racing, donde estamos aquí ya preparando estos últimos preparativos, ya, que valga la redundancia, antes del inicio de la clasificación y de la primera carrera de las 3 que vamos a hacer hoy en el circuito de Barcelona-Cataluña, Montmeló, que no solo es escenario este fin de semana de carreras reales, como hemos dicho antes, sino que también tenemos 3 carreras virtuales hoy que llevarnos a la boca, con los mismos competidores que nos han extasiado en los últimos días, la última vez hace 2 días nada más, en la carrera especial del Día de los Veteranos en Laguna Seca, y veremos a ver de qué nos deparan hoy, si alguien es capaz de echarle el guante a Jesús Sicilia, Carlos.
Complicada misión para todos los pilotos, y desde luego que va a ser interesante porque tenemos un grupo y ya se puede apreciar ahí la numeración que está bien apretadita, desde el 1 hasta el 20, desde el 1 hasta el 40 casi se puede decir que va aumentando la cosa décima por décima. Están los pilotos demostrando también una progresión muy interesante en la que se está empezando a ver cada vez más limpieza, cada vez más nivel, así que vamos a ver si continúa esa tónica en la competición. Y para los que no lo sepáis, pues todo esto es G-Sim Racing y podéis visitar la página de allgratefulhearts.org para participar en las rifas, así como en las donaciones que os permitirán participar a su vez en el jackpot, en el GHA jackpot, en el cual si acertáis los 6 números que saldrán, de los cuales vosotros elegís los primeros 4 y los 2 últimos se eligen aleatoriamente, pues podréis ganar hasta $10.000, nada más y nada menos. Así que mucha suerte para todos los que decidáis participar en ese jackpot, conseguir los tokens en la rifa, ya sabéis, y ahí podréis encontrar también grandes premios como un Nissan Sentra del 2021 y otras muchas alegrías, como por ejemplo los productos de Healthy Nails RX, que es nuestro producto estrella se puede decir, o nuestra marca estrella de esta semana, nuestro sponsor de la semana. Así que muchas gracias a Healthy Nails RX, comprobar sus productos para conservar las uñas más felices que te puedas imaginar y más saludables del planeta. Así que ya sabéis, también deciros que esto no es la realidad, niños, esto no es la realidad, que es un simulador y lo estáis viendo gracias a iRacing, que es la plataforma que os permite correr con hasta 60 corredores en pista. Hoy estamos cerca de los 45 ya, ¿no? Estamos ya cerca de los 45, si no me equivoco. Un número interesante, por lo menos que yo vea. 45, 46 tiempos ya en el cronómetro, así que por parte de muchos pilotos, así que mucha suerte para todos. Jesús Sicilia, como estaba diciendo antes Adri, ya está poniendo las cosas claras en los relojes. Así que el número 8 con Heart to Heart International ya está ahí arriba. Y Jonathan Álvarez también un poquito más distanciado. No sé si será por el social distancing, pero sí que parece que un pelín más distanciadito. Siempre está generando, la verdad. Jesús siempre está trayendo una diferencia. En esta competición tengo que decir que en cada una de las carreras está trayendo unos tiempos bastante diferentes al resto y se está manteniendo en eso, en los especiales, en los regulares y es lo que le ponga, así que enhorabuena en ese sentido.
Luego la presencia, por cierto, de Yashar Nuji en el top 10, que no le hemos visto últimamente por estas posiciones. Habíamos hablado de la buena labor que estaba haciendo, de la buena progresión que estaba llevando, y bueno, a ver, son libres, aunque de la quali, que la tendremos dentro de un ratito, pero está muy cerca de los tiempos de Javier Carre, de Jonathan Sánchez, de José Manuel Sicilia, o sea que ni tan mal para empezar.
Y estábamos viendo a Martín Marqueva con Brasco, el número 24, y ahora Manuel Pariente encontrándose un momento caliente, un momento para derretir ese chocolate del Red Rock Chocolate Factory que estaba delante. 17 es el número de Nacho Limorti con Kill Pop Radio. También estuvimos viendo ayer a Gerard Sardeni. Y si no me equivoco, Gerard, mi amigo Gerard, está con otro número. Gerard Sardeni, que está con el 46. Hoy sí que sí. Confirmado.
El número de Valentino Rossi, que se retira este fin de semana.
Ay, es verdad. Lo estaba pensando y no me lo creía. Lo siento a Valentino, de verdad, o más bien, no sé si decir que Jordi Hurtado es el Valentino Rossi de la televisión. Valentino Rossi es el Jordi Hurtado del motociclismo, pero
recordemos que quiere hacer Le Mans, o sea que el motor se retira, pero a lo mejor le tenemos por estos lares circuiteros, quién sabe.
Sí, desde luego que va a ser interesante. Vemos también a Miguel Torres, el número 51, ahora con unos poquitos de problemas. Aitor Cajide, el número 52, con esa pintura de Spec Ops. Miguel Torres, que me parece que está con Bikini USA, si no me equivoco. Y CBD Bosses ahí enfrente de Aitor Cajide. Aitor Cajide, que cuidado con Aitor, cómo se está estrenando en la temporada, aunque lleva ya un aviso de comisaría. Desde luego que hay que hablar también sobre el rendimiento que está dando, y es buen rendimiento de Aitor.
Metida ahí en ese top 5, que es más o menos donde estaba clasificando en Laguna Seca también. A ver si se resarce un poco de esa... Bueno, de hecho creo que terminó por ahí estos puestos en la carrera grande, a pesar de salir muy atrás. Así que, bueno, actuaciones sólidas. Quizá hoy sea el día en el que le veamos subir al podio.
Pues puede ser, todo es posible. A ver qué es lo que acaba pasando. Y, queridos oyentes en español, vamos a continuar en inglés, si no os importa. We are about to see the last minute of the practice session and we will get started with the first round of qualifiers today. 15 minutes of qualifying, if I'm not wrong, and afterwards we will begin our first race of the day, in which all of our drivers get to do 15 minutes, and they have to do them wisely, but I'm sure they'll have a bit of a hasty feeling in there. In any case, we are about to take a little bit of a break, and we will be right back after the break